Hi, Tom. Thank you so much for joining me today. We are here to talk about an important and exciting event that is happening this autumn in Huntsville, Alabama, called Doorway to the Future. And it is presented by the Center for the Unification of Science and Consciousness, which is your nonprofit dedicated to the scientific experiments being conducted right now in major universities, which if successful, could usher in a major paradigm shift in our understanding of the fundamental nature of reality. So, we're going to take some time today to talk about what inspired the event, what you hope it will achieve, and how people can take part. And I'm really excited to dig in. So,
Great.
Tom, yeah, it is great. So,
Yeah.
Tom, you are a physicist and you worked in the field of physics your entire career, including at NASA. And simultaneously, you've been experientially exploring the realm of consciousness your entire adult life, and you pioneered modern research into altered states of consciousness. This puts you in a unique position to speak powerfully to both areas of exploration, the realm of objective science and the subjective realm of consciousness. So, my question to you right off the bat is, so why the unification of science and consciousness? Why is that important?
Well, it's important because science and consciousness can be unified. Now, most scientists would reject that idea. Science is science, and it's about the objective world. And consciousness, even if it exists, would be subjective and therefore not in the realm of things that science works on. Science only is interested in the objective. That is a very narrow idea. It's a very narrow concept of science. Um, there's a lot of science that goes on that's not squarely in the objective world, like all medical science, for instance. That's not so objective. It's mostly statistical, which isn't what hard science is all about. Hard science is not statistical. So also all the soft sciences like sociology, psychology, these are all soft sciences instead of hard sciences because they deal with the subjective world. Medicine's in there too. How do you know that a patient's pain in their head has gotten better? The only way you can know that is ask the patient. And of course, 10 different patients with the same pain will tell you 10 different things because everybody processes pain differently. So medicine and sociology and the rest of those soft sciences deal with statistics. How do most people describe, certain levels of pain caused by certain specific things? So that's one step away from the hard science, but the intuition, the intuitive side of consciousness is an important part of consciousness. Now, look at it this way. If we look at all of the things that are important to us, significant in our life, the most important things, well, what would that be? Things like truth and justice and love and caring and relationship and satisfaction, all of that, peace, all of that's subjective. None of that falls in the subjective world. Big questions in your life where you need answers like, should I marry Sally or should I marry Sue? Well, those affect a lot of people. That choice will make a big difference to many people, but that choice is going to be entirely subjective. So we come to the conclusion that the most interesting and most important part of our lives fall outside of what scientists would call science. And that part of our lives that is about the stuff, how many people can sleep in your house, how much does this weigh, how long is that? Well, that's all objective, but that's just the stuff. That's like the props in a play. Nobody goes to a play to watch the props. That's the props are there. They have their function. They make the story more interesting, but they're not really what's important. What's important is the story that's going on, the play, the drama. That's what's important. It's what's being said. And all of that is in the subjective realm, you see. So why would I look for a unification of the subjective and the objective of consciousness in science? Because it's important. That's where our life is lived, on that subjective side. And we understand so little of it. But there are rules on that subjective side. Rules that if you follow them, you certainly will find happiness and satisfaction, or struggle and dissatisfaction if you don't. So understanding with a logical, scientific method behind it, understanding with that kind of science behind it, in the subjective world is needed, desperately needed. And as it turns out, our reality that we call the physical universe is really explainable and, well, let me say that differently, is actually a subset of consciousness. Consciousness turns out to be fundamental, not the physical world. So with the physical world being a subset within consciousness, that opens up an awful lot of questions. Well, how does that work? How does consciousness, make a physical world? How does consciousness make mass, and so on? Well, my model is to answer all of those questions, to explain how our physical universe has come about, why it's come about, who are you, who am I, what's our purpose here. All of those things fall out of studying the unification of science and consciousness. And now my model is not the only model. There's lots of other people that are trying to mine this same vein or similar veins. And what this symposium is about, we're getting together to talk about our approaches, what we've learned, how things work, the experiments that we're working on. You mentioned I have a set of quantum physics experiments. Well, the first one of those has just started producing results about 2 weeks ago. So when I get to this meeting, I'm going to explain how all that came out and what does it mean. And so there'll be that, and I'll be explaining some of the other experiments that we're going to do. What's next? What are we going to do next? And hopefully we'll help encourage some donors to help fund that, because these experiments are very expensive.
Right.
So that's what it's about. But we're trying to make this more than just an intellectual knowledge fest. Symposiums tend to be that way. People come and they listen to lectures, and then they go back to the rooms and come out and listen to another lecture. But we want this to be more collegial than that. We want it to be people networking with each other, people talking and connecting and sharing and networking. We're trying to make it fun and interesting, as well as intellectually productive. We're going to have musicians wandering around. They may collect together and play, or they may just play in the lobby or in some of the rooms that we're using, or at mealtime. We're hoping to have partying at night. So when all the work is done, we will crank up the sound system and just enjoy ourselves with music, dancing, whatever we feel like doing.
Right.
So this isn't the kind of symposium that you're probably used to. This is going to be very informative. We're having people talk about the future, what they're doing, things that they're planning, experiments they're planning to do, and what those experiments will tell us, and others talking about what they've accomplished already. But it should be very interesting. It should be exciting in the sense that you'll learn about some facts of reality that you didn't know before, that were invisible to you, some amazing things that'll make you do a double take. And you're going to meet a lot of interesting people. And most importantly, you're going to have fun. This symposium is about people, not just knowledge and sharing knowledge, but about people. So we're going to have a good time.